Hello, today I will be explaining how to factor a polynomial equation like this one by using its rational zeros. First, we will determine how many possible rational zeros this equation can have by using Descartes' rule of signs. Since there are no sign changes in this equation, we can determine that there will be no positive signs. And if we rewrite this equation as f of negative x, we have x to the fourth minus 6x cubed plus 11x squared minus 12x plus 18, which has 4 sign changes. So this can either be, so it can either have 4, 2, or 0 negative rational zeros. Then we use the equation Q over P to determine the possible rational zeros. And in this case, Q is equal to the trailing term, and P is equal to the leading coefficient. So in this case, it would be the factors of the trailing term and the leading coefficient. So in this case, it would be equal to positive or negative 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18 over 1. And since we know that there are no positive rational zeros for this equation, we will only be using the negative values of Q over P. Now we will use synthetic division to determine which of these zeros are actually the real zeros of the equation. So you rewrite the equation. Rewrite the synthetic division. You take the coefficients of all the terms in the equation and write them like this: 1, 6, 11, 12, and 18. Then you take the factor and add it over here. That. First, you drag the first term down. Then you multiply that term by, in this case, negative 3. And then you add what you get here to this term. And drag that down, and then just repeat the process. So, negative 9, 2, negative 6, 6, negative 18, 0. Now we have just factored out the first term, out 1x term from the polynomial equation, and if we write that using negative 3 as the real zero, we will get something like this. X cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 6. We will get something like that. Now we will repeat the process again for this equation to factor it even more, because here's the real zero that we've already found with negative 3. So we just repeat the process again. In this case, let's use negative 3 again because it'll work. And 6. So we write it like this. drag the first term down, multiply it by 3, you get 0 there. Add 0 to 2, add 2 by -3, you get -6, and 0. So if you write that equation out, if you write that equation out, the equation you get by using that out, you will get something like this. Now we have all of the rational zeros of the equation, and this equation can then be simplified to this. Notice how the x squared plus 2 we are not factoring the x squared plus 2 anymore, because if we did that, we would get an irrational zero, and we are only trying to find the rational zeros of this equation.